Hey, look, man, he's lying. I swear on everything. I'd never touch a punk. I swear, he's lying. Ronnie. We all saw the tape, Ronnie. Your boss saw the tape, Ronnie. I'm sorry, Ronnie, but you know the rules. You disgraced the family. You gotta go. No. Shut up, you filthy piece of trash. What up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Alright, now, today, people, I'm going to introduce you to a ruthless bandit named Ronnie. Ronnie had a football number, and he was fairly young, mid-20s, big, healthy Italian guy. Supposedly, he worked for one of the five families. Now, I know y'all like, if he connected, what he doing in a regular pod? Well, I told y'all in the beginning, he was a ruthless bandit. And that started on the streets. So I guess when he finally touched down to prison, he wasn't trying to go no fancy, spot where he'd have a cell by himself and all of that nonsense. He wanted to be where he knew he could bump into some boys. Now, from what I'm told, he was a hardcore enforcer. He put a bullet in your head quick. So, what could have been the problem, you ask? Well, y'all might want to get your popcorn, because this story about to get diabolical. Quick. PSA, y'all. By no way do I agree with the actions of this inmate or his associates, nor did I have any dealings with him or any of his associates. Now, Ronnie was one of the best cell phone connects, because he had the guards on the side. Every month, some of them will receive envelopes full of hush money. Yeah, y'all know what that is. Now, that hush money was a gift and a curse. Supposedly, once they took that bread, the mob owned them. One thing I've learned from a few of my old friends, you get involved with the mob short term, never. It's always for life. The only question is how long that life will be. See, the mob only approaches people that are expendable, meaning down and out on their luck, needing money to fix a problem fast, someone that probably won't get missed if they disappear. I mean, think about it. Mob bosses and made men and associates all get whacked or end up on witness protection. Either that or sitting in the prison for life, keeping that code of silence. Now, I can't claim to know all the rules of the mob, or I'd have been whacked already myself. But one rule I know for certain is La Cosa Nostra does not respect homosexuality under no circumstances. They won't do business with you, and you definitely can't be part of any family. So, if you like that, and you join the mob, and you hide that, the penalty is getting unalived. No questions asked. Your best friend will put a hot slug right between your eyes and toss you over a bridge in little pieces. Closed casket. And like I always tell y'all, you can't trust nobody in prison. I guess Ronnie, I guess he thought since he was a made guy in a big family, he could move however he wanted. And wouldn't nobody dare snitch on him. Well, there's other guys from other families in the prison, and everybody's paying someone to get coded messages from prison to the streets and back. And there's plenty of people willing to push that blade for a button. So, if you know anything about any of the families, they will use another family to deal with an inside problem. So the actual person or problem has no idea. So in other words, you can move from being associate to a made guy by taking a contract and dealing with a problem. Whether you get caught or not, it doesn't even matter. That extra 10 or 15 years for so-called defending yourself, well, I guess it's worth it in the end to be a made guy. As a matter of fact, doing the hit, getting caught, and staying in prison on the mob's behalf only shows more loyalty. And you probably be first to get made whenever you come home if you survive. And listen, y'all, seriously, don't be asking me how I know. Look, I really do have friends in high places. Believe me, don't believe me, up to y'all. And I actually know associates. I've never met a made guy, at least I don't think so, aside from the guy Ronnie I'm telling y'all about. Now, let's get back to Ronnie. Now, the officer that was carrying those messages back and forth saw something crazy, right? But he had to make sure, because making the wrong accusation about a guy like Ronnie could lead to him getting unalived. So the officer saw Ronnie going into his cell with a pump. And he thought he was bugging, so he said he just sat in the booth with his chair facing Ronnie's cell. Now, they could control the cameras in the pod also, so he aimed one at Ronnie's cell and pressed record. He needed solid evidence before he went back to the family. So let's fast forward. The tape been recording about 20 minutes and nothing at all going on. Then it happened, y'all. The white sheet went down. The wait paid off because Ronnie walked right out that cell, looked around real quick, made sure the coast was clear. Then he pulled the punk out the cell. He trying to hurry up before someone see him. Little do he know, it's too late. And to top it off, before he let the punk leave, he grabbed his butt cheeks and gave him a little pet kiss on the lips, y'all, and put his finger over his lips, I guess telling him keep quiet. Get in the comment box, y'all. Are y'all risking your life to play with a boy if you in the mob? If you know anything about this subject, chime in, y'all. Let's talk about it. Also, if you haven't done so already, now's a great time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video and hype it up, y'all. Let's go. Now that officer was not going to stop there, y'all. He needed more proof. Remember, his life was on the line, so he going to keep watching and recording Ronnie. The surveillance went on over 4 days, and that officer ended up getting Ronnie on tape with 6 different punks in 4 days. Yeah, y'all. I guess he doubled up 2 of those days over 60 minutes of footage, y'all. So, same interactions, the kissing, the hugging, the cheek grabbing. I told y'all, men in prison talk and gossip like crazy. So, you already know the 2 cells next to Ronnie could hear everything going on. The officer went as far as secretly interviewing the inmates from these cells, separately. And he got the same damn story. Now, what they heard was important. He recorded all 4 inmates as if it were a confession of sorts, but no names, anonymous. He needed to give an account for the visuals because the camera was only video, no audio. They all said they heard a whole lot of sucking noises and grunting. And the bed metal, so it make noise every time you move it, or, when you move around, it make a sound. It sounded like someone was jumping on the bed. And then the noise stopped. And maybe 10 minutes later, Ronnie would be heading to the shower. And it would smell crazy right at the front of his cell, like someone took a shit on the floor or something. Now, this officer had everything he needed, but he still was scared to go back to Ronnie's family with the info. So the smartest thing to do was to go through one of the underbosses doing time in that prison. He talked to him, showed him the tape, you know. He let him hear the 4 inmates, and that was enough. The underboss reached out to his family to get word back to Ronnie's family that supposedly said, I have some recordings and you need to hear and see. That way, when the officer took the evidence to Ronnie's family, they wouldn't take it, they would take it serious and not, make it like he making a lie up or something like that. Well, y'all, they saw it. They was outraged. Ronnie's father, his uncle, his brothers, and his cousins all gathered around to see Ronnie doing the unthinkable things. Supposedly, Ronnie's own father ordered a hit on him for the disgrace. He ordered the tapes to be destroyed and to never speak his son's name again. He cut him off just like that. Being that Ronnie was already a made guy, the underboss taking the contract could give that to one of his own associates he felt deserved to be made. That's called making your bones, usually at the expense of someone else's life. So the guy he picked was one of his stand-up guys he could trust to get the job done. And he gave him one instruction: make it brutal and make it final. He gave him a long shank, not the type for a regular fight, y'all. The joints, like what I'm talking about, they only got one purpose, y'all. And that's straight up to end a life. Well, all I can say is dude caught a 2-for-1. Like a sale. He plotted and waited. He got on Ronnie's timing and figured out when he sneaked the boys in and out of the cell. So he went right in that cell once they started engaging. And well, as per YouTube's policies, I can't go into great detail, but let's just say he kept stabbing till they both unalived. He left them there, slumped over. Ronnie was still attached to the back of the punk. Man, y'all know what I mean. He was still inside the punk when he took his last breath. And if y'all curious on how this info was in my possession, well, that guy that took the hit pretty much had to stand up and let it be known he did it in order to get made. It was a badge of honor, and he told everyone how he unalived them while he was still banging the punk. His boss was granted permission to perform the ceremony to make him, and I have no idea what takes place for that. I just know it involves blood and fire. All I can say is this, people. Ronnie knew good and well what he was doing was wrong. And when I say wrong, I mean it was wrong because you knew the organization that you belonged to did not approve of such things. So it's just like any criminal that decides to put his life, on the back burner. When you decide to run up in a bank armed, ready to do damage, and you get knocked off and get that 20-year bid, well, your life wasn't that important when you did it, right? You think about it afterwards. Ronnie didn't even get a chance to think about the wrong that he was doing. There was no turning back for Ronnie. Ronnie made his decision. He thought he could run around with punks in prison and get away with it, and nobody would say nothing. Well, the way things go in that world is if you make them look bad in any way, you bring heat to the organization, you make the organization look soft, anything of that nature, and well, they're just going to deal with you in the most fitting way. And more than likely, that's going to be little pieces in the bottom of the ocean somewhere. So just keep that in the back of your mind, y'all. If you ever cross paths with an Italian and they start talking all that good shit to you, don't just nix it off like, he's bullshitting or that couldn't happen. You never know who you crossing paths with. Because I'm telling you, people, we cross paths with people just like that every day and not know it. So when you're in the supermarket, be nice. Be nice to the little old guy. Because you never know if he's the head of a family. He could be the monarch that they all look up to, that you disrespect. And well, because you couldn't hold the door, because you're so rude, you let that door slam in that old man's face, and he got a good look at your face and your license plate, and now you got two Goombas knocking on your door. Yeah, y'all. The foot soldiers do not play, especially about their elders. Now, if you disrespect the mob, it probably don't matter how many times you say sorry and apologize and this and that. The damage is done. Especially if you disrespect them in public, in front of many, many people, the way Ronnie did. Ronnie's own family turned their back on him. Didn't want nothing to do with him anymore. Ronnie's father was so ashamed that his own son, a made man, was a booty bandit. He had him whacked. So take notes, y'all. Take notes. If that's what will happen to their own for betrayal, what you think they'd do to you for less? Get in the comment box, y'all. Tell me what y'all think. Alright, y'all, look. If you like content like this, stay tuned. Come back for more. Your boy got you. I got plenty more of these stories that I'm going to be putting out in the next few days. And y'all just got to be here. It's an experience. Alright, y'all. This is the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. I am your boy, Jersey Street Corner, and I'm out.